Stephon Marbury's journey in the NBA has been one of the most tumultuous, marked by various off-court struggles and personal challenges. Amidst the turmoil, I was reeling from the loss of my coach one week, and then my aunt the next. Recently, new revelations have emerged. Nate Robinson has made shocking claims, suggesting that Marbury didn't solely sabotage his own career, but also purportedly harmed a woman's life along the way. What exactly did Marbury do? What caused this to remain under wraps for such an extended period? Let's dive straight in. The tumult began when a prominent figure, Brown Sanders, declared she would no longer tolerate the disrespect and initiated a harassment lawsuit against Isaiah Thomas, Madison Square Garden, and Chairman James Dolan. Importantly, Brown Sanders wasn't merely a low-level staff member. She held the title of Senior Vice President of Marketing and Business Operations, placing her among the top executives managing critical affairs for the organization. However, her legal complaint describes the situation at MSG as a complete nightmare. She alleged that Thomas had genuinely harassed her and that she was terminated for voicing her concerns. This wasn't merely a case of offhand remarks. It involved a troubling pattern of conduct that purportedly fostered a hostile work environment, making it difficult for individuals to perform their duties without facing ongoing disrespect. Naturally, Isaiah Thomas refuted the accusations against him. I shall express this as vocally as I can. I am utterly innocent, truly innocent. I did not commit the acts she has charged me with in this courtroom. At this point, our guy Stephon Marbury is pulled into this chaos in the most humiliating and visible manner. When the trial began intensifying in September 2007, everyone anticipated it would focus on Isaiah Thomas and his purported misconduct. On September 12, 2007, Marbury found himself in the hot seat, and things took a dramatic turn. Testifying under oath with a global audience, he revealed a truth that no husband wants to face in the spotlight. He acknowledged having an encounter with Kathleen Decker, a 22-year-old Knicks intern back in April 2005. The circumstances were chaotic, showcasing just how unruly things had spiraled for the Knicks. It all kicked off during a team trip to a strip club in Mount Vernon, New York. Now, I'm not implying there's anything inherently bad about adults visiting strip clubs. However, blending business with pleasure, especially with power dynamics involved, can lead to complications. At the club, Marbury confronted Decker and inquired, "Are you going to climb into the truck?" When she agreed, they ended up being intimate right there in his vehicle. The sheer boldness of it all was staggering. But hold on, it escalates. Legal papers disclosed that Marbury subsequently messaged Decker stating, "I want more of that." This wasn't merely an isolated incident. This guy was aiming to turn it into a habitual occurrence, completely overlooking the reality that this was a work environment laden with significant power disparities. The evidence revealed significant issues in the management at MSG. Brown Sanders shared that Decker had opened up to her about the occurrence, expressing that she felt unable to say no to Marbury due to his prominence as a star athlete. This illustrates a harmful workplace environment that fosters victimization and enables those in power to exploit others with lesser authority. However, the plot thickened. When Kathleen Decker took the stand on September 24, 2007, she delivered an unexpected twist that caught everyone off guard. She asserted that her interaction with Marbury was entirely consensual and under her control. This led to a tangled scenario with conflicting narratives, making it increasingly difficult to discern the actual events. Marbury's demeanor throughout the trial was remarkably dismissive. He seemed to regard the proceedings as trivial, labeling the lawsuit as ridiculous and a farce. He acknowledged using a derogatory term for Brown Sanders in a phone call, although he took pains to explain that he didn't refer to her in a racially derogatory manner, as if that somehow improved matters. The most revealing instance occurred after he concluded his testimony when he remarked in the elevator, shedding light on his true feelings about the entire affair. Cash leads people to do wild things, dude. That remark encapsulated his perspective on the lawsuit, framing it as a mere attempt to capitalize financially rather than a legitimate claim of workplace misconduct. Yet, the turmoil extended beyond Marbury. The trial revealed the extensive corruption within the organization due to nepotism and favoritism. Hassan Gonzalez, a relative of Marbury, was brought on as a junior MSG staff member at Marbury's insistence. How'd he squander this chance? By exhibiting abusive conduct towards Decker and other women at work, making lewd remarks, which only worsened the toxic atmosphere. Ultimately, Gonzalez was dismissed for his harassment, but the harm had already been inflicted. As the courtroom theatrics unfolded for everyone to see, Marbury grappled with a discrete personal issue he wished to conceal. Simultaneously, he was entangled in a relationship with Thorea Mitchell, the private chef for his family, whom he had employed in January 2006. Court records indicate that their affair occurred roughly 5 times, but its consequences extended beyond a mere illicit romance. Mitchell asserted in legal documents that Marbury led her to believe that pleasing him was essential to her employment security. This situation mirrored the power imbalance concerns central to the ongoing harassment trial. Influential figures exploiting their roles to coerce women in real situations. The trend was evident, and it reflected poorly on all parties concerned. When Marbury terminated Mitchell's employment later in 2006, she refused to go quietly. She accused him of harassment, and Marbury understood he faced significant consequences. With the harassment suit already garnering media attention and his character at stake, he opted for extreme measures. He consented to compensate Mitchell with $900,000 to ensure the affair remained undisclosed, a decision solidified in a legal document that he later claimed was intended to secure Michelle's silence. Consider that for a moment. Almost $1 million merely to silence someone regarding an affair. That's substantial cash, indicative of how significantly Marbury believed this disclosure could impact his professional and personal reputation. The timing was particularly important, as he aimed to steer clear of exacerbating another public relations issue amidst the ongoing harassment scandal. For a number of years, this arrangement proved effective. From 2006 until January 2010, Marbury disbursed nearly $600,000 to Mitchell, who remained silent regarding their affair. However, when the payments abruptly ceased, the situation began to fall apart once more. The factors behind the payment halt were intricate. It seemed Marbury was encountering financial strain as his NBA career wound down, transitioning to the overseas basketball scene. At the same time, the harassment trial was drawing to a tense climax. On October 2, 2007, the jury handed down a verdict that reverberated throughout the sports community. They determined that Thomas had genuinely harassed Brown Sanders and that MSG had wrongfully terminated her for voicing her concerns. The financial repercussions were substantial. The jury granted Brown Sanders $11.6 million in punitive damages, including $6 million for the hostile work atmosphere and $5.6 million for the retaliatory dismissal, leaving Thomas dissatisfied. He was extremely disappointed that the jury failed to recognize the facts surrounding the case. I intend to contest this decision, and I have faith in who I am and the values I uphold within my family. Thank you. The ruling has left a profound impact on all parties concerned. The trial evolved into a public relations debacle, scrutinizing unsavory details about visits to strip clubs, unprofessional conduct at work, and harmful management styles. Marbury's testimony, characterized by his flippant demeanor and nonchalant acknowledgement of dual encounters at work, positioned him as a key player in the scandal, despite not being among the primary accused. The bond between Marbury and Isaiah Thomas, already fragile due to professional differences, shattered entirely during the trial. In November 2007, Thomas sidelined Marbury. Rumors indicated that Marbury warned he would reveal compromising details about Thomas, declaring, "I have plenty on Isaiah, and he's well aware." This clash transpired on a team plane, highlighting the toxicity that had developed. Amidst all this turmoil, Nate Robinson found himself at the center, witnessing one of the most chaotic episodes in NBA history unfold before his eyes. Between 2005 and 2008, Robinson was a close observer of the turmoil engulfing the Knicks organization. In later years, he recounted his insights from this time. Even after the decision was reached, the drama didn't conclude there. A fresh wave of chaos ensued. It was a classic case of reality taking a downward turn. The aftermath of that harassment trial's verdict felt akin to witnessing a skyscraper tumble in slow motion. The $11.6 million ruling against Madison Square Garden extended beyond mere financial implications. It illuminated the decaying culture hidden within one of basketball's most renowned entities. This trial transformed into a full-blown public relations nightmare for the Knicks, as the grim specifics of workplace harassment, toxic leadership, and unacceptable conduct were laid bare for all to see, resembling a grotesque reality show. For Isaiah Thomas, the ruling felt like a death knell for his career. Although he stayed on until April 2008, it was clear that his time was dwindling. The team's dismal 23-59 record from the 2007 to 2008 season provided the management with the perfect justification to finally part ways with him. His reputation lay in ruins, his influence vanished, and the organization he had attempted to cultivate was in utter disarray. Meanwhile, Marbury's predicament was becoming even more tangled. His relationship with Thomas had disintegrated entirely, and by 2008, he had essentially become unwelcome in the organization. They advised him against practicing or attending games at all. The psychological strain on Marbury became evident to onlookers. In 2009, he conducted that infamous 24-hour live stream, leaving many to wonder if he had truly gone off the deep end. Throughout the stream, he displayed signs of anxiety and distress, even consuming Vaseline at one moment, insisting it was for his throat. He later revealed the depth of his depression and conflicted feelings about success during that time, shedding new light on his peculiar actions. His subsequent career culminated in a buyout in February 2009, signaling the conclusion of what was meant to be a glorious return, but instead turned into one of the most tumultuous player-team dynamics ever recorded. The young man from Brooklyn, once the beacon of hope for the franchise, had morphed into a representation of all that was amiss within the organization. Amid this public turmoil, an illicit affair with the chef was on the verge of erupting in unexpected ways. It's important to note that Marbury had been compensating Thuria Mitchell nearly $600,000 from 2006 until January 2010 to maintain their discreet connection. Once those payments ceased, Mitchell was not one to let matters rest easily. For a long time, she received payments to maintain her confidentiality, but once the funds ceased, so did her discretion. In 2012, Mitchell pursued arbitration, seeking the outstanding sum from their $900,000 contract. The arbitrator assessed the circumstances and ruled in her favor, granting her $330,000 and emphasizing that Marbury had willingly entered the agreement and must fulfill his obligations. The arbitrator even remarked that Mitchell could have pursued a larger lawsuit or sold her narrative for more, indicating that the original contract was quite fair from her angle. When the arbitration decision was made public, the entire saga erupted into the media spotlight. The timing was absolutely unfortunate for Marbury and his family, coinciding perfectly with the revelation that he and his wife Latasha would be featured on the reality series, Basketball Wives. The producers of the show must have been ecstatic over the unexpected exposure. Many sources remarked that they were practically shouting, "Save it for the show." Latasha Marbury's reaction to having her private matters exposed was a masterclass in navigating a difficult scenario with grace and poise. When she entered the FI 8th season of Basketball Wives in 2013, she chose not to shy away from controversy or act as if it never occurred. Instead, she confronted the issue directly, stating, "It's a factual event, it's happened, it's in the rear view, we all stumble sometimes." Yet, she expressed her annoyance with co-stars like Evelyn Lizada, who persistently revisited the affair for the sake of drama and attention. The legal challenges intensified when a judge mandated that Marbury settle the overdue amount of $341,153 in 2013, slightly exceeding the arbitration ruling due to accumulated interest and legal costs. Mitchell even took action by filing papers to potentially seize Marbury's possessions, such as his Mercedes and Land Rover, if he failed to comply. The intent was unmistakable. She was no longer tolerating any nonsense, and the judiciary was on her side. By October 2013, Marbury settled the entire sum, putting an end to a financial burden that had drained him of nearly $1 million. TMZ disclosed that Marbury had successfully liberated himself from his disgruntled ex-lover, but by that stage, the Globe was already aware of the scandal. Thus, the initial aim of the payoff had become entirely ineffective. The financial pressure from these legal entanglements was further exacerbated by other monetary difficulties Marbury faced. Around that same period, it was reported that he faced significant financial troubles, despite amassing over $150 million throughout his NBA tenure. U.S. Bank International submitted court documents revealing that he had not made mortgage payments on a New York City condo since March 2010, amounting to $844,000 and $35 on a property bought for over $1 million in 2006. This financial predicament illustrated how quickly fortunes could shift from millions in wealth to struggling with bills. However, the narrative takes an intriguing twist. While Marbury's image in the U.S. was plummeting, he was creating something entirely different across the globe. When the chef scandal made headlines, Marbury's NBA journey had already reached its conclusion, having played his final season with the Boston Celtics in 2008 to 2009. Rather than fading into oblivion like many retired players, he took his talents to China and completely transformed his career. In the Chinese league, Marbury became nothing short of a legend, guiding the Beijing Ducks to 3 CBA championships in 2012, 2014, and 2015, and clinching the Finals MVP in 2015. His remarkable achievements led to him being named a basketball ambassador in China, and in 2012, they erected a statue in his honor outside Beijing's MasterCard Center. By 2015, he secured permanent residency in China, a testament to the immense respect he garnered. Remarkably, the scandal did not appear to diminish his popularity in China at all. In that place, his on-court performance and contributions to the community defined him rather than the personal turmoil he faced in America. He even starred in a biographical film and reintroduced his Starberry shoe line. Meanwhile, back in the U.S., more controversies emerged. In 2022, Isaiah Thomas attempted to rewrite the narrative by casting blame on Marbury during an interview with Peter Vexi for NBA Alumni. Thomas asserted that Marbury's affair with an intern was the true catalyst behind the harassment lawsuit he faced. He claimed he had no connection with Brown Sanders, insisting that Marbury's misconduct sparked all the allegations against him. Thomas asserted that his notoriety caused the media to target him, making him a scapegoat while Marbury's role went largely ignored. He insisted that those within the NBA recognized his wrongful allegations and dismissed the entire lawsuit as fraudulent. However, this story starkly contrasted the court's proceedings, which centered on Thomas's purported conduct towards Brown Sanders, highlighting instances of verbal harassment, inappropriate advances, and fostering a toxic workplace. Nate Robinson's take on the unfolding drama sheds light on the chaos he experienced being embroiled in the situation. As a backcourt teammate of Marbury from 2005 to 2008, Robinson witnessed firsthand one of the most turbulent episodes in NBA lore. His remarks throughout the years reveal the intricate dynamics within that organization. Lately, Robinson has demonstrated that he still has a connection with Marbury, even engaging in playful banter with him on social media. When a federal judge sanctioned a $2.7 billion settlement that enabled schools to compensate college athletes, Marbury expressed his enthusiasm online. In response to his post, Robinson quipped, "This is Ampy troubles. I played 2 sports in college. I need," highlighting that he can still share humor with his former teammate despite the tumultuous past. The personal toll from all these controversies has continued to accumulate over the years. The marriage of Marbury and Tasha, which had somehow withstood the fallout from the chef affair, ultimately concluded in divorce in 2023, more than 10 years after the scandal erupted. The relentless weight of public attention, financial challenges, and a lasting impact of earlier missteps had finally impacted a union that weathered more turmoil than most couples could bear. Yet, life continues, and Marbury discovered new joy when he wed Chinese artist Wang Yuling on April 7, 2025, in Philadelphia. This union marked a fresh start, further intertwining his life with China, where he had rebuilt his career and earned respect after his American journey had crumbled, transitioning from local fame to national recognition. Born on February 20th, 1977, in Brooklyn, New York, Stephon Xavier Marbury emerged from Coney Island, and anyone familiar with that area in the 80s and 90s knows the challenges it presented. The Marbury family was quite remarkable. We're discussing the 6th of 7 offspring born to Mabel and Don Marbury. Dad was hustling hard, taking every manual job available to ensure there was food to eat, while Mom managed daycare, keeping her kids on the straight and narrow. His older sister, Stephanie, significantly influenced his upbringing, even earning the privilege of naming the future basketball star. Raised on the vibrant streets of Coney Island, where basketball courts held great importance and reputation meant everything, young Marbury quickly revealed his extraordinary talent. This wasn't merely a kid with decent dribbling skills. This kid had an undeniable killer instinct, exceptional court awareness, and that unmistakable Brooklyn confidence that set the true players apart from the fakes. At Abraham Lincoln High School, Marbury began crafting a reputation that would shadow him throughout his career. His talent was so outstanding that he earned a spot in Darcy Freese's 1994 book, The Last Shot, which chronicled how youngsters from tough neighborhoods were leveraging basketball as a pathway out of adversity. The book poignantly illustrated the harsh realities, revealing how sports corruption and financial struggles could impact a young athlete's mindset, and how the weight of expectation could swiftly turn aspirations into disappointments. By the time he graduated, Marbury was absolutely unstoppable. In 1995, he guided his team to victory in the city championships and earned the title of New York State Mr. Basketball. That's true recognition of your talent. When the entire state sees you as the top player, you know you've made it. He was competing with the elite, securing his place as a McDonald's All-American alongside future NBA stars like Kevin Garnett and Sharif Abdul-Rahim, and he was listed as one of the top 5 prospects nationwide. When it was time to choose a college, Marbury opted to showcase his skills at Georgia Tech, where Coach Bobby Cremins was crafting a remarkable program. His first year was absolutely epic. He guided the Yellow Jackets to a 24-12 record and propelled them into the NCAA tournament's regional semifinals. The emerging point guard was racking up stats that had scouts buzzing, averaging 18.9 points and 4.5 assists per game. He earned third-team All-American recognition from the Associated Press. At that point, it was clear to everyone that this kid was primed for the next step, yet Marbury was eager to leave college behind as soon as possible. After a single season, he entered the 1996 NBA draft, ready to earn big and demonstrate what Brooklyn basketball truly meant. The Milwaukee Bucks chose him as the 4th overall pick, but quickly traded him to the Minnesota Timberwolves in exchange for Ray Allen and a future first-round selection. Just like that, the young man from Coney Island was on the verge of striking it rich. His debut season in Minnesota unfolded just as one would hope for a budding talent eager to establish himself. With an average of 15.8 points and 7.8 assists, he secured a spot on the all-rookie first team, playing a pivotal role in guiding the Timberwolves to the playoffs alongside Kevin Garnett. His sophomore season surpassed expectations, with 17.7 points and 8.6 assists, proving it wasn't merely a stroke of novice luck. This was pure talent at play. However, this is where the situation began to turn messy, as success often entwines with inflated egos and significant wealth. Marbury's rapport with the Minnesota front office began to deteriorate. He clashed with management regarding his offensive duties, believing they were stifling his talents. The unrest escalated during the 1999 lockout, prompting his agent to categorically request a trade. At that point, it was clear the relationship was irreparable. When your own representatives are urging a move, it's time for a change. New Jersey was meant to represent a new chapter, and for some time, it seemed promising. Marbury was racking up impressive stats with the Nets, averaging 23.9 points and 7.6 assists in the 2000 to 2001 season, which earned him his inaugural All-Star nod. He competed fiercely, as if his very existence hinged on every game. including a remarkable 50-point performance against the Lakers in February 2001, demonstrating the essence of New York basketball to Kobe and Shaq. His time in Phoenix would yield even greater personal achievements. In 2002, he earned his second All-Star nod and was named to the All-NBA third team. His performance from 2000 to 2003 solidified his standing as one of the top point guards in the NBA, teaming up with Shawn Marion and a budding Amare Stoudemire. He was pivotal in leading the Suns to the playoffs in 2003, demonstrating his knack for clutch moments by sinking a buzzer-beating three-pointer against the Spurs. Though the series ended in defeat, such instances highlighted why Marbury was regarded as one of the league's most formidable players. However, the defining moment came when he was traded back to New York. As a Brooklyn native and lifelong Knicks supporter, his return was initially met with the fervor reserved for a returning hero. The local hero was returning to rescue the franchise and instill a winning mindset at Madison Square Garden. Yet, unbeknownst to everyone, this return would morph into one of the most dysfunctional episodes in NBA history. By the mid-2000s, the Knicks organization was already in complete disarray. With Isaiah Thomas at the helm as both president and head coach, the franchise had become a laughingstock in the league. They were squandering large sums on underachieving players, executing poor trades, and fostering a toxic workplace atmosphere that was on the verge of a very public meltdown. Amidst the turmoil of this powder keg, Stephon Marbury stepped onto the scene, entering into volatile relationships with coaches Larry Brown and later Isaiah Thomas. Adding to the precariousness was the timing. The Knicks were grappling with simmering internal conflicts ready to erupt into legal battles. The atmosphere at Madison Square Garden had grown toxic, and all parties would soon feel the full force of that toxicity once lawyers became involved. It was also during this tumultuous time that another pivotal figure emerged, Nate Robinson, a young guard who would be an eyewitness to the impending chaos. From 2005 to 2008, Robinson and Marbury played side by side on the New York Knicks, navigating some of the franchise's bleakest moments. Their notable synergy emerged in Robinson's inaugural season, particularly during a thrilling overtime clash with the Philadelphia 76ers, where Marbury's trust in the rookie shone as a rare highlight amid the turmoil. Yet, beneath the surface, chaos was quickly escalating. The year 2006 threatened to unfold into a calamity, marked by legal troubles that would reveal the deep-seated issues within one of the sports story teams. Ultimately, Marbury's journey illustrates how losing everything in one chapter can lead to newfound success in another. However, the price of those teachings can often exceed what most are willing to spend. If you found this video appealing, tap on the one appearing on your screen for more enjoyment.